So standing facing the wall, and then you want to get your right foot really close to the wall. The knee is going to bend and the left leg is going to stretch back. So this is a variation of Warrior One. So if you did any yoga before, you'll recognize Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. So it's a nice strong warrior pose. It stretches into the back leg. You can take the arms up the wall and have a bit of a stretch here. But we're actually going to use this position as a labour position. So you're going to have a stretch here first. So stretch back into the left heel. Reach the fingers up the wall. Draw the chest a little bit towards the wall. Take a couple of breaths here. So you're getting the stretch. And then you're going to bring the hands down. So we're going to use it as a birth position. So what you're going to do is bring the hands together, interlace the fingers, and then bring the index fingers and your thumbs together and pull them back. So you've got a little diamond shape. And then you kind of use that as a holder for your forehead. So the elbows come onto the wall and your head rests in that little thing that you've made. Now, if it feels more comfortable, you can step that back foot in, because this is for a labour move now, so it doesn't have to be a big stretch. And you're going to circle the hips around, just make a circular movement with the hips, and you're going to work with your half breath. So you're going to breathe in through the nose, and then just breathing out, making that ha sound. And if you want to, you can circle the other way. So this is something you can do in labour, in the early stages of labour, when you've still got energy to stand up. And again, you've got gravity on your side. It's a great position for opening up the cervix, also giving you a little bit of a stretch if your legs are getting a bit antsy. And then we're going to open this up into another stretch. You're going to turn now the left foot, or the back leg out 90 degrees. You're going to keep the elbow against the wall that is nearest to the wall, and then you're going to open the other elbow out. So now we're coming into a side stretch. So the front knee stays bent. As you breathe out, you bring the back hand to the wall. And as you breathe in, you take the back hand out into the center of the room. So you're opening into the stretch. Same thing again. So you breathe out, bring the hand towards the wall. And breathe in, take it out. One more time. Now, leaving the arm there, straighten the leg that's near the wall, and you might even want to step away a little bit so that you can straighten the arm that's touching the wall. And then we're going to have a side bend. So again, heartburn, side stretching. You're going to lift up through that back arm, and you're going to reach it up and over. So you're lengthening into the side of the body that is away from the wall. So now for some of you that's going to be your left side, some of you it's going to be your right side. So if you can bring the fingertips over to the wall, or you can keep that arm straight and then open all the way back out. Okay, lovely. And then our last stretch before we do the other side. So this is called half dog in yoga, or half uttanasana, because it's half and half of each. So I'll show you. You're basically going to come into a right angle. It's going to give your back a really nice stretch and your hamstrings. So you need to bring your hands about hip width, hip height, slightly higher, and then you walk the feet away until you're at a right angle. Now you can start with the knees slightly bent. You push the hands into the wall, And then you push your sitting bones away from the wall. So you're pushing into the sitting bones, you're getting this stretch all the way through the whole of the body. You might feel it in the wrists if they're the tightest part, you might feel it in your hamstrings. You can keep the knees a little bit soft. Or if you want a good hamstring stretch, you can straighten the legs and increase the work that you're doing in your hamstrings. And then bend the knees, lift the head up and walk back towards the wall. And then we're going to do the other side. So now you're going to take the right leg back and the left leg is going to be the one at the front. Or if that's the side that we did before, do the other side. And then start by stretching the arms up the wall to get your calf stretch into the back leg. Take a couple of breaths here. So pressing back into the calf muscle, at the same time reaching the arms up the wall. And then you're going to bring your hands down again to support your head. So interlace the fingers, index fingers and thumbs pull back. And then you're going to rest the elbows against the wall so that you can hold your head into that space made with your fingers. You can step the back foot in if you want to reduce the effort. And then you're going to circle the hips around. So working with your heart breath again and making circular movements with the hips. And then if you want to, you can change direction and go the other way, or you might find that you've got a nice movement going in the direction that you are in. And then, from the position that you're in, you're going to open out the back leg and then straighten the front leg. You might even want to straighten the arm that's against the wall. We're going to extend the back arm, we're going to reach it up, and then we're going to reach it over. Now again, you've got a couple of options. You can keep the arm against the wall straight and reach the arm over, or you can bend it a little bit if that helps you to bring the other hand onto the wall. So you can find what works, and you're going to lengthen so that the back hip is going to drop down towards the heel and the rib cage is going to reach up and over the head. So you've got this little bit of space through the side of the body. Take a breath here. And then bend the front knee and you can push away from the wall. And then we're going to do that hamstring stretch again. So you're going to face the wall. Drop the hands down onto the wall until they're level with your hips. Walk your feet back until you're at a right angle. You can bend the knees to start with and then push the sitting bones away. Now for most of you, you might find that this little dado rail here, this black bit of wood, just provides a nice little wrist rest for you. For some of you that might be too high or too low. So keep pushing the sitting bones away from you so that you can get the stretch in back. Take a couple more breaths. And then you can bend the knees and slowly walk the feet forwards. And then you might want to shake everything out. So you might want to shake the legs, you might shake the shoulders, shake the hands, and just get rid of any tightness that is there. And then we're going to work on this work on this last little standing stretch, which is going to lift the rib cage away from the pelvis. I'm going to take the legs a little bit wider, turn them out, so you're getting a nice stretch with the hips. So find what feels right for you, and then you can straighten the legs. Take the arms up and over the head, and then take hold of opposite elbows. And what you're going to do here is lengthen the elbows up to the ceiling and drop down into your squat. So make it comfortable. And if it's not, then you can do this with the straight legs. It's up to you. But the energy here is going upwards. So we're lifting the rib cage away from the pelvis, away from our baby, by stretching the elbows up to the ceiling. So breathe in here, and then you're going to come over to one side. So you're drawing even more space. And then you breathe in, come back to the center. And you breathe out to the other side. And you breathe in, come back to the center. And do that a few times. So using your out breath to come over to the side, using your in breath to come back to the center. Lengthening all the while through the side of the body. And it's these kind of lifting up and away movements that give a little bit of space for the heartburn. And then we finish, you can relax and turn the feet in, and you can just walk the feet in towards each other very gently. And again, just having a little bit of a jiggle. So again, if you've got heartburn, what you want to do is kind of make this space. That's quite a good one to do, just making the elbows come up. And it's quite useful to do that after you've eaten, because it's usually about an hour or so, isn't it, after you've eaten, when the digestion takes place, that you start to get this kind of acid feeling coming up. So just after you've eaten, you give yourself a little bit of a stretch. It might make a difference. Okay, so we're going to finish with a little balance. So we're going to look at our standing posture to begin with. So our posture is constantly changing when we're pregnant. And so we're always kind of catching up, trying to find what is an upright position in a body that keeps changing shape. So it's quite good every now and again to just check in and go, right, where is my centre of gravity at the moment? You know, where am I? Who am I? And it all starts with the feet. So bringing your attention down into your feet and to shift your weight from your right foot to your left foot. And just notice if you have a tendency to put more weight into one side than the other. And sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. We might favour, maybe the hip will drop out to one side, and this is our kind of comfortable position, leaning into one hip. So notice if you favour that, if you've got more weight naturally inclined to go one way or the other. And then you're going to go from front to back, so you're going to take your weight into the balls of your feet. And then you're going to take your weight back into your heels. And just go forwards and backwards. And again, notice, do you favour one more than the other? So when our alignment isn't quite right, we might take all our weight into the balls of our feet, or we might take it back. And there are some very specific postures that are attributed to where the weight is forwards to backwards. And what we want to do is get the weight in between the two. So now, we want the weight equally in the left and the right leg. We want the weight evenly between the balls of your feet and your heels. Now notice, do you favour the weight on the outer edges or the inner edges? So just go out and in. And notice if one feels better than the other. And then bring yourself into the centre of both of that. And this now means that this is perfect alignment in our feet. So if there's anything that doesn't feel right here, maybe because you are favouring one of these sort of out of balance positions. The second thing is the knees. If you lock your knees, your pelvis will rotate forwards and it'll jam your lower back. So if you unlock your knees, it will bring your pelvis into the upright position. And this is really important in pregnancy, because when we jam the knees, it rotates the pelvis forwards. when we are pregnant, our pelvis rotates forwards because all the weight is at the front. And this is why you sometimes get lower back in pregnancy. So if you soften the knees, just unlock them, and then let your tailbone lengthen towards the floor so your front hip bones are moving up. And this is really a neutralizing process. You don't want to go too much the other way so you end up like this, but you don't want it to be like this. So you want to find the middle line. So you can tuck and tilt your pelvis a couple of times until you find that middle position. And then once your pelvis is in that neutral position, you can just lightly lift your ribcage away from your pelvis and then relax your shoulders down. Now it might feel a bit awkward, particularly if you're not used to this. When I first started doing yoga, I had really bad posture because I liked my hip coming out to the side, and I pushed my belly forwards. I just lock my knees and hang off the front of my belly. It took me years to actually get everything where it needed to be. But as I was saying, you know, pregnancy will pull you forward, so you have to keep kind of realigning. Is my weight in my heels? Are my knees soft? Is my pelvis neutral? Are my ribs slightly lifting? Okay, now shift your weight into your right leg. Now if you feel that you need the support of the wall, just let your fingers on your right hand touch the wall. We're going to lift the left leg up. I'm just going to do a little bit of swinging. So I'm going to swing the knee in and out. And just get a little bit of looseness. And then you're going to bring the toes to the inside of your shin. If you want to, you can slide the foot a little bit higher up. If you want to come all the way up, you can bring the foot to the inner thigh. Now rest your gaze on the ground and just offer the arms up and out. Take a breath. If you've got a very spongy mat, you'd be better off on the carpet. Like, this is why I can't balance, because my mat is quite spongy. So even on the carpet, it's a little bit of a tricky balance. But the shoulders are relaxed, the chest is open. And then we can gently come back down. So again, learning to balance in pregnancy is quite a good thing, because it helps with your proprioception, you know, your perception of where you are with this changing shape, which is the centre of gravity is changing all the time. So now you're going to shift the weight into the left leg. That sole of the foot is going to find its four corners, the knee is going to soften, right leg comes up, and then we're just going to move that hip in and out a few times just to loosen it up. And then we can bring the foot either to the inner ankle, to the shin, or all the way up into the thigh, so whatever feels right. We're going to root the left foot down into the ground, and then we're going to offer the arms up and out if that feels okay. We're going to let the gaze rest on the ground, and then we're going to work with our breath, so slow, steady Ujjayi breath, ocean breath. And don't think about holding this position rigidly. So being rigid doesn't help. So we want to be soft, almost like there is this little wafting that comes with the movement. So allowing ourselves to kind of bend and blow in the wind like a tree does. So this is tree pose. So we can offer this little bit of undulation with it. And then when you're done, just coming back into your mountain pose. And again, just seeing how that feels. So coming back into your posture. Can you find that posture that we worked with? So feet, ankles, knees, pelvis, ribs. And then if all that is in the right place, the head will sit nicely onto the top of the spine. Okay, so from here you can curl down. So bend the knees. Come all the way down, have a little dangle here so you can work again with what feels good. So you might want to roll the spine around, dangle, let go of the neck, the shoulders, the head. So whatever feels right. And then you can walk the hands all the way forward and bring the knees down onto the ground. Okay, so I think we'll just go into relaxation now, if that's okay. I've got a lot of more stuff, but we can do it next time. It's 10 past, I think we've earned your relaxation. So, if you want to get yourself ready, come into the position that you are happy with. So again, as we said before, you can lie onto your side or lie on your back. If you're less than 20 weeks and it feels comfortable, then you can lie on your back.